You did it.
I did it. You're right. God damn it, I
Yeah.
did it. Welcome back, folks, to another episode of Trump City Heavyweights Podcast brought to you by the Great 8 Sports Memorabilia in Parkville, Maryland. I'm the host, Matt Trigger. With me is my co-host and my brother from another, Josh Merrill. Josh, what's going on, buddy?
It's all Matt coming live from the man cave, and welcome to the man cave.
Yes, I am trying to add a little bit to my side of the screen here. I got my trusty neon Ravens light that I got for a Christmas gift like 8 years ago. Samantha set it up in the background, so shout
Nice.
out to Samantha again. This is our pending Ravens free agent show. We're gonna kind of, you know, go over some of the guys that are getting ready to be free agents in about 3 weeks, and then we're going to talk about some guys that might be cap casualties here with the team. As it stands, Josh, we have just under $28 million in available cap space after the Roquan Smith deal.
And if, like we just said backstage, if Lamar plays on the tag, that money is ceased to exist. We'd be in the negative.
We would be in the hole with the projected cap space. You're absolutely right. Um, there's ways that we could create space, and that would be
Major
in
cuts.
in the fashion of a few major cuts and some extensions. There's some guys that are in the middle of the road. One guy in particular being Kevin Zeitler, the right guard, our starting right guard. I would see him as a extension candidate before I'd see him as a cut candidate.
Yeah, I don't see him getting cut,
We
man.
could we could kind of kick the salary down the road a little bit for him and get pretty much get him his final contract to finish his career here. Calais is a heavy cap hit
Calais ain't
for
cheap, bro.
Calais has never been cheap. He
Yeah,
hasn't
he
been
don't do
cheap.
no. He don't do no. I'm owed $1 million. Like Justin Houston.
Yeah. Could you extend Calais for another year,
Fuck
or
no.
what I'm saying is like a mutual option thing to where they could offset some of that money into the 24 cap, but you're going to get yourself into a hole if you do that for too many of the players on the team. Chuck Clark is counting almost 7 million against the cap. He's
He's
probably
he's
if
got
he's
it. He's gonna go.
if he doesn't get traded like soon, I could see him being a uh, trade candidate during the NFL draft and or like the days leading up.
Yeah, because they're not keeping him at a $7 million hit.
No, they would definitely have to figure out a way. I doubt he wants to stay. I mean, he stuck it out after asking for the trade last year. He had
Man, he played like every snap,
he played he did play every snap, but at what cost do you want to?
and he did not have a good year.
I mean, he didn't have a great year, but at the same time, do you really want to risk
I
having to pay
mean,
him that $7 million when
this
you
kid you
don't have
just
to,
drafted was rated the number one safety in the NFL. So
and you're going to have a healthy Marcus Williams coming back at $14 million next year? So
yeah,
that's a cost cutting measure. Then you're going to have to start looking at guys like is it going to be worth it to bring back Justin Houston? Now I love Justin Houston. I've loved him since he got here.
no, we
He was
can't expect that again, dude.
we can't expect to see. He was coming off a 4.5 sack year. Now he's coming off of a 9.5 sack year,
At the
and
end of the year, I know he had got a sack in the playoffs, I think, but he was running on fumes, man.
he was, and
Dude was
we
tired,
we expected a lot out of Houston and JPP this year. For
and they
be,
both gave us more than I ever could have imagined. Both of them.
yeah, and we've said it on the show plenty of times, man. I'm a sucker for the big names or for the popular names, and they both came in and played
Who
rather
you
well.
telling?
JPP had a pretty good year, but all things considered, being a situational pass rusher, he played very well in the run game as
Yeah, he did. He
too.
held the edge. He may have
He
been the
held.
best edge guy on the team.
There's going to be a lot of guys coming up where there's going to be some really tough decisions that are going to have to be made in terms of whether we keep them or go, or we let them go.
Yeah. What about a guy like Fuller?
I think that if you pretty much explain to him that he's going to have to sign the veteran minimum to get a prove it deal, that might be a situation.
Yeah.
I'm looking at our free agent list now. Marcus Peters is the
You
most
got
glaring.
Urban too. That's a hard one.
I think they need to do what they can to keep Urban. Urban definitely earned his keep this year, and
Justice Hill. Man, there's a lot to talk about. Geno Stone. Why is Tyler Huntley popping up on here?
he's a
Oh, he's
restricted free
restricted.
agent.
He's restricted. Okay.
He's restricted.
Yeah. Gotcha.
Justice Hill. The thing is, we have a lot of money sunk into the running backs right now. Gus is on a pretty hefty deal for a change of pace power back, and J.K.'s in the final year of his rookie deal.
Yeah. Do you take another stab at Jawan James since
no,
paid him money to sit for 2 years?
No, I think that ship sailed.
He didn't look right. He looked scared.
Well, he tore his Achilles again.
He looked scared. He didn't look like the Jawan James before.
No, I mean, well, he's pretty much damaged goods. He popped the same Achilles twice.
Yeah.
So to me, he's definitely gone. I'm looking at this list here. Josh Oliver is an unrestricted free agent.
I think he's staying. They love him.
They love him, but are they going to? How much are they going to pay him to be the fourth tight end?
Man, he ain't going to take much. You might be able to get him like 2 years, $6 million.
But you're talking about paying him $3 million a year for a fourth tight end. We drafted.
It depends. This is hard with guys like Oliver because the Ravens are going to run the ball. I don't give a hell who they hire.
Right.
And Oliver became a kind of good in the run game. I don't know. It's tough.
Now looking at
it's going to be a more balanced team, But do you need all those damn powerful tight ends? Is Kohler going to get a chance to play next year? I think Kohler is a good player.
Kohler's going to get his opportunity to play next year. Likely is going to have an increased role next year.
Tell you what, I was watching film today. If Likely can put on a few pounds of muscle, man, dude can be a monster. He can be Darren Waller. And he's got the speed. His moves are a little raw. His routes are a little raw. He's not really disciplined in his routes yet. But I feel like with a year under his belt, off-season training, all the shit, putting on weight, a little bit of weight, dude can be a monster, I'm telling you. He may be another year away. He may be a 2-year project guy, but you may get something out of him next year. You may get a little more. And he gave us a good rookie year. Shit.
He did.
So far, it looks like Eric nailed the draft. We said he had to nail last year, and it seems like he nailed it. I mean,
I'm looking at the list of guys that are available. I mean, that are going to be available. Sammy Watkins is as good as gone, especially after what he said about Lamar's injury.
Yeah, I mean, he was gone anyway, dude. He ain't worth mentioning.
We kicked the tires on him after we had him for that year or two before. Kenyon Drake is going to be a free agent. He was a healthy scratch just due to circumstance, but
yeah, he's not coming back.
He's not coming back, but somebody's going to give him an opportunity to be
he earned his way.
A depth piece, Yeah. DeMarcus Robinson, man.
I wanted to mention him. I think you got to keep him.
You do? He has a little bit of an issue with his hands,
his ball handling is terrible. But when dude is on, I mean, it doesn't surprise you if he has a 12-catch, 2-touchdown game, over 100 yards receiving. And it's just like, oh, shit. It's like he can take over. That Tampa Bay game, he took the damn game. Him and Gus Edwards took the game over. And Lamar. So I think you keep it. I don't want him to be out there all the time. I think he was out there way too much this year. But if he can come in and be a good number 3, number 4, shit, gives you depth. He knows the system, and he's capable of taking over a game. He just can't do it every game. If he could, he'd be a superstar wide receiver. Uh, he just hasn't been able to figure out how to do it consistently. But man, he can take over an NFL football game. We saw that in Kansas City, and that's what brought us here. That preseason game, he took over, and he took over about 3-4 games this season.
He did. I
So you
agree
got to
with you.
keep him,
That's a fair assessment. You
and
do have
he's
to keep him.
fairly young, and he's young.
I I just know that we're going to add another wide receiver either through the draft or free agency. I don't think they're going to go
Oh,
into
they're
the
going to
season.
draft they're drafting wide out. They're going. The
They're going to
city is
have
going to
to.
go mad if they don't. And I honestly, it's all been rumor, but I think they're having trouble getting the OC in here.
I see.
Some people think he's waiting for the Super Bowl to be over.
I think they're waiting for Bieniemy to. I think they're going to try and get Bieniemy to make a lateral move. And I really here's my theory to it, and this is just my line of thinking. If Bieniemy does not leave Kansas City, we will hire an OC within by midweek next week. We'll have a new offensive coordinator. But a lot of these offensive coordinators that we're interviewing and the guys that we want for OC, their biggest question throughout this whole process is, am I going to have Lamar Jackson or am I going to have Tyler Huntley next year?
It's a big question. I mean,
it's
it's fair.
It's a fair question, and it's a huge question. Who are you?
Well, none
who
of
are
us
you getting?
fucking know, bud. None of us. All of us would love to fucking know, but we don't. We're in the dark, and we continue to be under this dark cloud.
So that's going to be. I believe they're going to offer it to Bieniemy first. I think that's the number one guy. And
the only thing that scares me with him is he's not calling plays.
So you don't know what you're getting. You're getting him off the strength that he was directly under the wing of Andy Reid, and that he's had Pat Mahomes at his disposal the last handful of years. So it's definitely a touchy situation. But I know for a simple fact that these guys aren't going to go into the 2023 season with the wide receiver room looking the way it did entering this season.
Yeah, it's bad. The Ravens, man, they admitted at the press conference they made a mistake.
And I told you,
wrapped into Shorin. You did. I was wrong. I was excited. I wanted to go with the young because you hear these names and then you never see. You're curious. You know.
I know he's not a free agent, but do you think that Prochet's seen his last snap as a Raven?
Fuck yeah, that ain't a question. He's gone. He done sold his house. He's out of town. He ain't coming back. He ain't going to play for another NFL team. He's terrible.
Somebody'll take a chance on him.
Who? Why? A practice squad. That's his best shot as a practice squad.
Yeah, somebody.
The only reason he's hung around here so long is because our wide receiver room sucks.
And one wide receiver, I'm glad that we signed to a future deal. I really want to see Andy Isabella use more. Okay. He's got the speed. He's shifty.
You just like his name.
He wasn't a big name in Arizona. I just think that he could be a special teams contributor. You could put him as a return man, at least on punts, because you don't want. I mean, obviously, look what happened to Duvernay. We stretched him thin this year between
Duvernay. We need to. He's a question mark. Is he just a really good returner? Is he an awesome wide receiver that we just had a coordinator or a quarterback that couldn't find him? What is he? We don't know. Is he a guy like Robinson where he's going to flash and then he's going to go stale and then he's going to get hot and go stale, go hot and go stale? Is he that guy? We just don't know yet. Or is he just a good returner and doesn't belong?
I'm looking forward to seeing a more evolved offense to see what these guys can do in terms of utilizing the offensive players that we have now.
Yeah. I can tell you what my opinion on Duvernay is real quick from watching film and then freshening it up today is when he's involved early, even if it's like a sweep or screen, whatever the hell, it seems like he's into it and starts getting open. If he's not involved early, it's just like you can just watch his routes. It's like he knows the ball's not coming. Fuck it.
and that's terrible, man. But sticking with the offensive free agents,
what about Moses? You keep Moses, or do you try to patch that up?
If you can chop down
What's his name? Falala?
Falele, yeah.
Yeah, Falele.
If you can chop down that cap number, if you can get him to restructure and possibly throw another year on that deal,
He might.
yeah, you keep him. One thing that pissed me off about Moses, and I know it's nitpicking, but the
He's all
dude,
right. He ain't all that, but he's
he,
all right.
he's decent. I think a lot of his inefficiencies got shielded by excellent and stellar play by Kevin Zeitler. When the guard is looking good,
Yeah, that's true.
the thing is
Help.
Moses gets beat like a drum by good pass rushers. So
Yes.
there's that. But I think Falele's our future right tackle. I think you got to kind of kick the tires and see if he's ready to go, especially if they can. He played at 380 this year. If you can get him down to 360 or 355,
He's a big bastard, dude.
he's a big boy. I mean, there's a reason he's in the NFL.
Yeah.
I think you got to kind of explore that situation just a tiny bit more. And Eric alluded to it at the press conference. Ben Powers is gone.
Oh yeah, he ain't coming. Yeah,
He's not
he
coming back.
admitted that. Yeah, we already got too much money in the line. They're not sinking another penny into it.
But
Another penny ain't going into that line. I assure you.
at every player that I criticized at the beginning of the 2022 football season, I owe the biggest apology to Ben Powers at all of them.
Yeah, you do.
Ben Powers played his ass off all year long. And what made
May have
me
been one of the best guards in football.
and
But he
I
never
was
showed any signs. He shocked me too. But I mean, I didn't go as far as you did. I wanted to see him, get another shot. But he never showed any promise to this. Dude just fucking figured it out, didn't he?
I openly vocalized my contempt for cutting Tyree Phillips and keeping Ben Powers. Tyree Phillips didn't even last on the New York Giants the whole year, and Ben
Nope.
Powers graded out as one of the best pass blocking left guards in football.
Hence why I'm glad Eric is in that seat and not you, Mr. Trigger.
It's
By the way, congratulations on winning Coach of the Year, man.
fuck you.
Oh God. No, see,
I don't think he should. I don't think he should have won Coach of the Year though.
I don't either, dude. I didn't either. I didn't like that
I
either.
don't think he should have won Coach of the Year.
Who do you think should have got it?
Honestly, I was kind of torn between Pete Carroll getting as much as he got out of Geno Smith.
Okay, I like it.
And if you would have asked me a month ago, I would have picked Mike McDaniels in Miami. But you're gonna hate me for saying this. I thought Tomlin should have been in consideration. He had a shitty quarterback in the beginning of the year with Mitchell Trubisky, and he fought for the playoffs all the way down to.
And that's what he does every year. What's any different? He either fights for the playoffs and just misses, or fights for the playoffs and gets smashed the first round. I mean, this is what he does.
I mean,
what's so shocking about that? He can do it with anybody quarterback. He's a coach. He's a lackluster coach, and they get lackluster results.
You can make an argument for Kevin O'Connell with the Vikings. He first year head coach. He got the most he could out of those guys. Who do you think might have been a prime candidate for Coach of the Year if Daboll wasn't chosen?
The Washington Commanders. Matt.
Ron Rivera.
Rivera, yeah. I just saw he's changed that football team. They're not too far off.
That's a fair assessment. I can go with that.
And then if Jeff Bezos' ass buys them in a couple weeks, all hell's going to break loose.
See, okay, now I'm glad you brought that up though, buddy, because where's the conflict of interest being talked about if Jeff Bezos buys the Washington Commanders outright?
I'm sure it had to be something. He can't be a sponsor and be an owner.
Right. You would have to cede TV rights to the Thursday night games.
Yeah, I'm sure that's illegal. I mean, but Amazon's already a monopoly and it's been getting away with it for over a decade now. So who the fuck laws don't seem to apply to him. He's
Yeah.
reached the level of success where there's no law. He's not going to jail for nothing. He owns the country.
Well,
He has a
yeah,
monopoly. He owns a
he
monopoly,
does.
and it's a monopoly.
It's a
Not one
definitely.
thing is not supposed to control the whole market, and it does. But it's hitting the politics show, so let's give for
Oh
it. But
yeah,
that's definitely a conflict of interest.
yeah. And it's more lucrative for him to stay with the TV deal than it is to own the team.
Yeah,
Uh, my brother sent me a message, and I know he texted our group chat. He said a coach of the year candidate should have been Doug Peterson from the Jacksonville
that's a
Jaguars.
good idea. That's actually me and Drew don't never agree on anything, but I actually agree with him on that one. That's a good one.
I
I
don't
forgot
like
about him.
I don't like Geno Smith winning comeback player of the year because it's not like the dude suffered a catastrophic injury and came back. I would have given it to Saquon Barkley for the simple fact that he's been banged up for the majority of the last 2 seasons, and he came back and set the league on fire. So
Yeah,
that would have
he looked like the old Barkley. Definitely.
I would have definitely
That was easy
done.
to see coming. That didn't surprise me one bit about the kind of season he had. The interviews I was watching with him before the season, you could see it in his eyes. He was like, "I'm full strength. I haven't been." He was like, "It's going to be me this time," and you could tell. So it didn't surprise. I could see it in his eyes. Dude was back. Sometimes them injuries, man, they take. That's what surprised me with Dobbins looking so explosive, especially as time went on. Usually running backs don't look right that first season, from a ACL. And Dobbins had explosion. He didn't have his long explosion, but it was slowly coming back. Uh, so good, Dobbins is a freak, man. They gotta
Absolute freak.
Dude is gonna want to stay here. I think it's getting to a dangerous point with him. I love Gus Edwards, but I think
He's got
Dobbins is by far the better back. I still want to see Edwards get touches, but I don't know how you can do that and keep Dobbins happy. Dobbins wants the ball, dude. He's not going to
he wants
play
to be a
the
20 touch.
17. Yeah, he's not going to play that 17 carry shit. Which is a crazy stat that he's never had more than 17 carries.
I heard that on the fan today on the way
It
home.
shocked me. Yeah, they've been saying it for weeks now, but he's got to have more touches than that. If you hand the ball to Dobbins instead of the Huntley sneak, we probably win that playoff game. And then go up to Kansas City and get smacked. But
Yeah.
you know, give
I
Dobbins
do.
the ball, whoever we hire.
I think that he might be that type of back. Now the thing with Gus is if you're not going to feed him, he's not one of those running backs that you can put in and he makes an explosive home run play.
No,
We know by tried and true uh, practices that Edwards gets better the more he touches the ball.
yeah,
When he starts to get that momentum and
yeah. He's got to
try,
grind you down.
he's going to grind you down, and that's the third and fourth quarter.
Yeah,
If you want to keep J.K. happy, you're going to have to cut into Gus's touches. There's no other way to spin that.
and Gus
And
is one of these cap guys too. His
three
money
and a
hits
half
back.
million, yeah,
Yeah, his money's kicking back in.
3.5 million for a
I
backup
don't,
running
I
back.
don't, I don't foresee now. That would shock me if they cut Gus or traded him. But stranger things have happened, man.
But is Gus a? Here's the thing that a lot of people have to think about now, and I'm gonna bring it up, because we talked about it off air and in text messages. Do we really know what type of running back Gus is, and to a fair extent, J.K. because they played in the Roman offense, and historically, the Roman offense is dynamite for running backs. He
That's
prospered.
a good point, man. That's a fair point.
Frank Gore was incredible in his offense.
Was not the same without it.
He was not the same, and it's a fair assessment to where is Gus Edwards really this kind of back if you put him in a spread or a modified shotgun or a old school West Coast offense, are you going to see the same type of
But
situation? Because
but Matt, wouldn't the Ravens be fools? I mean, they got to keep that. I know we're getting to OC, but they got to keep that portion of the offense.
they do, but the thing is,
And
the offensive
the offense
coordinator,
is built for that. They're built for that.
the players are built for it, but the offensive coordinator is going to want to come in here and put their own stamp on the offense. Because if we hire a new offensive coordinator to come in here to do the exact same shit that Greg Roman was doing, what sense does it make to not keep Greg Roman at that point?
Because he was terrible at calling passing plays.
He was. So you don't think for a second that this offensive coordinator coming in here is going to
I
want
mean,
to?
yeah, of course they are, but I don't know if they're being told like, look, our running system is set. We want you to implement your passing system with our running system.
And that's all fine and dandy. I just don't know that Edwards might, Edwards and J.K. to a degree might be system running backs if you look at their body of work just in the Roman offense.
Yeah.
Now, do you
I don't
strike
think
while
so.
do you strike while the iron's hot and you go into the combine next month in Indianapolis and Eric starts taking trade calls for Gus to go
No.
have a more prominent role somewhere else? We have 5 draft picks.
I
And if
think
you
all of this depends on if Lamar is traded or if Lamar is signed to a
that's the
long-term deal.
biggest thing. And we
It's
can
because then you look at it two different ways. Like if we trade Lamar guys and we
it's
get maybe an unknown quarterback and QB in the deal, like they're going to let off a little bit and probably go look for our quarterback next year and start building for 2 years from now instead of next year.
yeah, we are circling back to Lamar, and we've talked on air.
Just finish it one way or the other. I want
We
it
talk
done.
about this every fucking
I'm
episode.
so tired. We've been talking about it for 2 fucking years.
Right, and it's about time that they either pay the man or trade the man. I don't believe in them dragging this out to be as long
I don't
it's
think they're
gone
going
on.
to. Because, guys, like we said at the beginning of the show, for you people hoping that, oh, we'll tag them and hopefully, they got another year to figure it out. No, they can't. They would have to cut a lot of people to fit that in.
You're talking about
I actually
dismantling the
agreed with
roster.
Locking for you, and I agree Locking for you. He said they can't. That there's no way.
And here's another thing that people are forgetting. We can tag him, but he could say fuck y'all and not play.
He can.
Because
And when you're franchise tagged, you don't have to show up to like a few weeks for the first game.
Because the whole Deshaun Watson thing being traded to Cleveland isn't going to only hurt us with the guaranteed money. Lamar and every other quarterback has taken notice. Not only did Deshaun Watson get the deal that he wanted, the fully guaranteed deal, he sat out almost 2 entire seasons and still got what he wanted. Yeah. So Lamar is seeing that. Not only is he seeing the guaranteed money in the big picture, he saw Deshaun Watson sit an entire season.
I think Lamar loves the game. I don't know if he would do that.
I'm not saying he's going to, but there's a precedence that's been set on 2 different fronts by one other quarterback. So to me,
fucking Cleveland's stupid.
Cleveland fucked everything up for everybody. That's what they do. They're the
but you know what though, I don't blame Cleveland because if what the Ravens are saying is true and they really still love Lamar and believe in Lamar and want this whole team to be about Lamar, then why didn't they do this 2 years ago when Josh Allen signed?
You could have gave Lamar 10 or 15. Done. You could have gave Lamar 10 or 15 more than Josh Allen, and we wouldn't even be sitting here talking about this.
Nope. And it would have been done. So if that's the case, and they're and the truth is, either he's being crazy or they don't think he's worth what he wants, then it's crazy. That shame on them.
It is. It's a fair assessment.
But my honest opinion is they haven't been sure because he has digressed. They're not stupid. They have numbers. They have analytics. They have smart people, and they can see that he's regressed. Uh,
Yeah,
I don't care
I,
what you say. I don't care what anyone says. He has regressed. And if you say he hasn't, go watch fucking all 22 at, and you tell me there wasn't guys open, there wasn't guys overthrown. It's more than just where the camera goes when you watch it on Sunday morning, on CBS. Go watch it yourself, where you can go all around the field, a million different fucking angles. You can see what he's seeing, and tell me that he was reading the defenses and was confident where he was going with the football. He was unsure of himself. He was staring down Andrews. I know he had some good games. I know he got hot early in the season, and then once teams adjusted, he could not figure it out again, and that's been the problem since 2019. Teams have adjusted. He's losing a little bit of speed. He's getting a little bit older. He put on a lot of muscle. He was not beating that linebacker anymore to the edge, not consistently like he used to.
I couldn't have said it better myself.
So
So,
that's what scares me. I love him too. You know, part of me wants him to stay here too, but I don't want him to stay here and then we fucking suck. Can't get nobody because Lamar eats the whole cap, and then the people that want, why'd they do this? Like, it's scary because we don't know. He hasn't finished the season in 3 years healthy, and I count the Buffalo playoff game. That's why I say three.
I I can't help but agree with you on everything. There's
Fuck.
no rebuttal because it's spot on. So, yeah, man, that pretty much wraps up all of our pending free agents, and we had a chance to pretty much break down all the important role players. And like we just said, you just brought up at the beginning and the end of the show. This is all predicated on the Lamar Jackson contract situation. We trade him. We got 27 point something million to play with. We can do some restructures and cuts, and we can end up having 50 million to go into free agency and get a wide receiver or trade for a Michael Pittman or a DeAndre Hopkins or somebody of that nature. So
Or
that
Claypool. Damn, we should have got Claypool.
he sucked though, man. He was trash for the Bears the rest of the year, so I'm
Oh,
not
it's
worried
the
about that.
fucking Bears. Shit.
But
Even though I
that'll
like Justin Fields, I think he's good. All right, now shut it down. Sorry.
you're good, man. Yeah, you're good, Josh. We will be back early next week. We will recap our thoughts on the Super Bowl, and we
We
will
already gave our Super Bowl predictions, right?
we did give our Super Bowl predictions earlier in the week. If you want to kind of recap that without going crazy, I think it's going to be a Philadelphia Eagles win. I think it's still going to be high scoring. I believe that they win by a field goal though. I want to say it's going to be like 42-38 kind of ordeal.
Yeah. I said Kansas City 24-17. I just think if Kansas City can move the ball in this defense, I don't see the Eagles' offense being able to keep up. Since the injury, Hurts hasn't made over a 12-yard pass. So if old Patty's out there dinging the Eagles' off defense, they're fucked. Because he
Yeah,
has not. You don't believe me? Go read the analytics. Go read the stats. He has not completed over 12 yards since coming back, and he has not looked the same. That is just a really good team, and that should have been us in 2019. Fuck.
let's not go there, buddy. But that'll wrap for the show. We'll be back early next week
Shut
for
this
a
motherfucker down.
we will be back early next week for a potential or for the Ravens potential free agent target show. We will break down some guys that we think we should target with
Yeah,
the
and we're doing the
hypotheticals.
draft live reaction.
That's gonna be coming up in April. We will be doing the draft show together.
Live.
So live from the man cave. That'll do it,
Yes.
folks. That's a wrap on Charm City Heavyweights for the week. Have a good night, everyone.
Deuces.